Have you ever wondered why certain people spend their entire lives doing everything right, yet still end up unhappy, unfulfilled, or quietly forgotten? You did what society told you to do. You worked hard, you followed the rules, you avoided trouble, you were responsible. And still, deep inside, something feels missing, or worse, something feels stolen. You ever look back and ask yourself, did I live my life according to my own choices, or according to rules someone else created for me? That's why this video matters. Because today, we're going to talk about 5 dark society rules people around you obey without thinking, rules that quietly drain your freedom, confidence, and identity. And these are the rules the thumbnail warned you to never follow. Not now. Not ever again. Break these rules, and your life changes. Keep following them, and your story ends the same way millions of others do silently. The choice you make by the end of this video will shape the rest of your life. Before we step into the rules, drop this affirmation in the comments, "I rise now," so your mind locks into the right mode. Rule 1. Approval costs you. Have you noticed how much of your life revolves around keeping others comfortable? You pause before speaking. You soften your opinions. You hesitate to pursue things you want. Approval has been steering more of your life than your own choices. And yet, most people never realize it. That's the danger. It feels invisible until it has quietly reshaped decades of your decisions. Approval isn't free, it charges interest. And the bill always comes due. I once watched a colleague remain in a job he despised for 7 years because he didn't want to disappoint his father. Talent wasn't the problem, courage was. Years of prioritizing acceptance had left him afraid to choose himself. And when perception becomes a cage, life stops being something you shape and becomes something that happens to you. Think of all the times you paused before sending a text because you worried how it would be read. Small moments like this stack up silently, eroding your confidence, muting your voice, and shaping your life around other people's reactions rather than your own desires. Psychologists call this externalized self-worth, when your identity depends on the responses of others instead of your own values. Approval costs you your time, your identity, your courage, your boundaries, and eventually, your life's direction. And here's the irony. The very people you aim to please often forget your efforts faster than you expect. A single refusal can erase decades of compliance. Your constant accommodation becomes invisible, while your rare no is remembered as betrayal. Approval demands perpetual performance. Here's the truth most people never confront. Pause. Humans fear disapproval more than regret. We fear judgment more than stagnation. And over decades, we learn to shrink ourselves, to play small, to exist as someone more palatable than real. But here's the turning point, the identity shift moment. The moment you stop performing, that's the moment your real life begins. This isn't about becoming harsh or indifferent. It's about reclaiming your voice, boundaries, and priorities. You can still be kind, still be respectful, still help others, but without bending your life around their approval. You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to exist without constantly justifying your worth. And when you finally stop chasing approval, a remarkable thing happens. People respect you more. Not the shallow applause kind, but real respect for someone who stands firmly in themselves. Breaking this first dark rule, ditch approval, is not a minor step. It's the foundation of every transformation that follows. Without it, nothing else will stick. With it, everything begins to shift. The next rule? Even darker, even more invisible, and it has quietly dictated your choices for decades. Let's go there now. Rule 2. Be silent. How often have you swallowed words and stayed silent, letting fear decide what's said? That single hesitation, repeated countless times, quietly erodes your influence, confidence, and presence. Here's the part nobody warns you about. Pause. Silence isn't harmless. Tiny acts of restraint become habits. Habits shape who you are, how you move in the world, and what opportunities even appear. I once watched a friend sit through a board meeting knowing a critical mistake was about to be made. He said nothing. Fear of looking arrogant held him back. Later, the error cost the company millions. His silence felt polite, but the cost? Crushing. Think of all the times you stayed quiet in a group chat when an idea was ridiculed, or when someone took credit for your insight in a meeting, or even paused at a family dinner, holding back a truth to avoid tension. Each small act feels insignificant, but together they chip away at your presence. Psychologists call this self-silencing, when your identity depends on others' approval instead of your own judgment. Here's the key. Every time you speak up, your brain signals, "I exist, my voice matters." Repeated small acts of courage compound into unstoppable presence. Silence costs you opportunities, influence, respect, clarity in relationships, your sense of self. Notice the irony. People respect honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, but only if you give them a chance to hear it. Stay quiet, and assumptions grow. They interpret your silence as agreement, weakness, or indifference, and over time, that becomes your reality. Speaking up isn't conflict, it's alignment. Aligning your life, choices, and boundaries with who you truly are. Micro-visual. Imagine raising a hand to ask a question in a meeting, or texting a friend the truth instead of staying silent. Each act signals authenticity. The moment you start speaking up consistently, deliberately, clearly is the moment your presence begins to expand. This isn't about shouting or demanding attention. It's measured, intentional, truthful expression. You voice concerns, offer insights, assert boundaries, and share ideas not to impress, but to honor reality. And when you do, people respond differently. They stop assuming, stop taking, stop underestimating. They start listening. Speaking up is both philosophical and psychological. Philosophically, it asserts existence. You matter. Your voice matters. Your perspective matters. Psychologically, it rewires your confidence. Each act trains your mind to trust itself, transforming hesitation into action and fear into clarity. Breaking this rule, staying silent, turns invisibility into authority, anxiety into clarity, and uncertainty into self-trust. You remain considerate, diplomatic, and patient, but no longer controlled by imagined judgment. Ask yourself, how long have you let silence dictate your life? How many moments passed because fear spoke louder than you? When was the last time your real voice shaped a decision, conversation, or relationship? The moment you consistently speak up, you reclaim your power, you reclaim your life. And the next rule, even more subtle, even more dangerous, is waiting. Before we move to third rule, if you're getting value from this, tap like and subscribe. It helps the channel and it tells me to keep making videos like this. Rule 3. Putting yourself last. When was the last time you put yourself first, really, fully, without compromise? Not a small indulgence, not a fleeting moment. I mean, your time, your energy, your priorities. Here's the part nobody warns you about. Pause. Neglecting yourself doesn't make you noble, it makes you invisible. I once knew a man who spent 20 years caring for everyone, his parents, spouse, colleagues, while quietly eroding his own dreams. When the chance finally came to pursue what he wanted most, he had no energy, confidence, or strength left. Generous, dependable, kind, but unable to live his own life. Think about your own moments. Staying late at work to finish someone else's report while your own project waits. Skipping lunch to accommodate others. Driving a friend across town when your own plans are pressing. Each act seems small, but together they drain your health, your energy, and your life's direction. Psychologists call this chronic self-sacrifice, when your brain adapts to always prioritizing others, and your own needs shrink into irrelevance. Every time you consistently choose others first, your mind signals, "My priorities don't matter." Putting yourself last costs you energy and health, clarity in decisions, time for your dreams, emotional stability, your life's fulfillment. Here's the irony. When you start putting yourself first, people notice, not with resentment, but respect. Your boundaries clarify your presence. Your priorities become tangible. Your influence grows because you operate from fullness, not depletion. The philosophy is simple. You cannot serve others effectively if you are running on empty. Think of the airplane's safety rule. Put your oxygen mask on first. It isn't selfish. It's survival. Microvisual. Imagine a parent finally saying, "I'll take care of myself first," or skipping that extra errand to finish your own book project. The moment you consistently put yourself first, without guilt, without apology, is the moment your life begins to align with your true priorities. It's not selfishness, it's strategic generosity, giving fully because you are full yourself. Choosing the right yeses and nos multiplies impact rather than diminishes it. Breaking this rule transforms depletion into energy, passivity into action, and exhaustion into clarity. You are no longer a background player in your own life. You are the protagonist. Ask yourself, how many years have you silently prioritized everyone else over yourself? How much more could you achieve, create, or enjoy if your own needs weren't always last? The moment you consistently put yourself first, everything else sharpens. Your relationships, work, health, and dreams. And the next rule, even darker, even more invisible, is waiting. Rule 4. Working hard. When was the last time you asked yourself, am I working hard or am I working smart? Most people spend decades grinding, rushing, overcommitting, and yet the results never match the effort. You feel exhausted, yet somehow behind. Here's the part nobody warns you about. Ours. Hard work alone doesn't guarantee success. In fact, it often guarantees burnout. I once watched a colleague put in 70-hour weeks for months on a project. She was tireless, committed, and perfectionistic. Yet when the outcome came, her smarter, more focused team members outperformed her. Her effort was immense, but her strategy was scattered. Energy without direction is wasted energy. Think about your own routines. Endless emails while urgent projects pile up, meetings that accomplish nothing, tasks repeated over and over without results, or staying late to redo something that could have been solved in half the time with a small adjustment. Microvisual. Imagine staying late again to alphabetize files that nobody even looks at. Each small misstep compounds, leaving you exhausted and frustrated. Psychologists call this effort bias, the tendency to equate effort with value. We assume that working harder equals working better, but the brain quickly adapts to effort, and the reward often diminishes. Smarter work leverages focus, timing, and selective attention, not just hours spent. Working hard without strategy costs you energy, focus, time for meaningful projects, clarity in decision-making, and ultimately, your potential impact. Here's the irony. The most successful people aren't the ones who burn themselves out. They are the ones who understand leverage. They ask, which actions move the needle most? Which decisions produce exponential results? Microvisual. A writer focusing on the chapters that sell the book rather than rewriting the introduction endlessly. The moment you learn to work smarter, not just harder, is the moment your energy becomes a tool, not a trap. This isn't about laziness, it's about intentionality. Prioritize tasks that yield the biggest results. Automate, delegate, or discard the rest. Measure outcomes, not effort. The smarter approach amplifies your influence and protects your health and sanity. Think philosophically. Life is finite, energy is scarce, time cannot be replaced. When you treat your hours as sacred, not disposable, every decision gains weight. Psychologically, working smarter rewires your brain for efficiency, clarity, and focus. Small adjustments compound into massive results over months and years. Breaking this rule, relying on effort without strategy, transforms exhaustion into power, scatter into focus, and frustration into achievement. You stop spinning your wheels. You start moving in the direction that matters. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you wasted running harder while going nowhere? How would it feel to accomplish more by doing less, more intentionally, and more strategically? The moment you commit to working smarter, your influence, impact, and clarity expand. And the next rule, the invisible forces of society that exploit your predictability, is waiting. Rule 5. Blend in. When was the last time you deliberately stood out not for attention, but to be truly seen? Most people spend their lives blending in, keeping quiet, following the crowd, and dimming their uniqueness to avoid judgment. And yet, the world only notices those who dare to be different. Here's the part nobody warns you about. Pause. Blending in feels safe. It feels polite. It avoids conflict. But safety is an illusion. Staying average guarantees invisibility, and invisibility guarantees missed opportunities, respect, and influence. I once watched a colleague who had a brilliant idea but didn't speak up, worried it would draw attention. A junior teammate presented a similar idea weeks later, got full credit and a promotion. The difference wasn't ability, it was visibility. Standing out requires courage, but without it, talent remains invisible. Think about your own life. speaking softly in meetings to avoid rocking the boat, wearing safe clothing, safe opinions, safe hobbies. Micro-visual, staying in the background during a family gathering while a cousin gets praised for a bold, unconventional choice. Each small act of blending in reinforces your invisibility. Psychologists call this social conformity bias, the tendency to mirror others to avoid rejection. Your brain rewards fitting in, but at the cost of individuality. The irony: the same uniqueness you fear revealing is exactly what makes you memorable, influential, and respected. Blending in costs you recognition, opportunities, influence, self-expression, and eventually your life's distinct impact. Here's the truth: standing out doesn't require being loud or dramatic. It requires deliberate authenticity. Show up fully, voice your ideas, pursue what excites you, and embrace what makes you different. Micro-visual, posting your genuine opinion in a professional forum, sharing a personal project that's outside the norm, or offering a fresh perspective in a team discussion. The moment you embrace what makes you different consistently and unapologetically is the moment your influence multiplies. This isn't about ego, it's about authenticity. The world respects those who are clear, confident, and unafraid to be themselves. Philosophically, standing out affirms existence. You are here, and your perspective matters. Psychologically, every act of authenticity rewires your brain to value courage over comfort, presence over invisibility. Breaking this rule, hiding who you are to blend in, transforms fear into confidence, invisibility into presence, and hesitation into influence. You are no longer just another face in the crowd. You are remembered, you are respected, you are impactful. Ask yourself, how often have you dimmed your light to make others comfortable? How many opportunities passed because you played it safe? When was the last time you let your true self be seen? The moment you decide to consistently stand out, your influence, respect, and life trajectory shift dramatically. And the final rule, the one that ties every choice together, is waiting. Now, write this affirmation in the comments: I dare to act. You've just uncovered the truth that society hides. The rules they taught you, be nice, be humble, be patient, always play safe, were never designed to make you strong. They were designed to make you manageable, predictable, and easy to control. But now you see the other side. You understand that power and respect are not given. They are taken. They are earned through strategy, action, and self-mastery. They are claimed by men who refuse to blindly follow rules that weaken them. They are claimed by men who understand the game others ignore. If you found value in this guide, make sure to hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more strategies that make you stronger, smarter, and impossible to break. If you haven't watched my previous video, 10 Dark Society Rules You Must Break Now, you're missing the foundation that makes these rules actually work. Think of this video as strategy. That one is your armor. You'll find it linked below and on the end screen.